Good morning and welcome to another SaTAROTday with Salann. Today it's just me doing a read for the last read of the year. I'm going to pull some cards today and see what they have to say. Alright, so today I'm actually using the Next World Tarot. I have used this a couple of times. It is a freaking amazing deck by Cristy C. It manages to capture lots of modern nuances to it and make a lot of sense in today's world. And so out of a couple hundred decks, I decided to just, browse through and see what's calling to me as a transitional deck, what's going to give me something to kind of go into the new year with. And this one jumped out at me. And so I think, in all seriousness, this deck is it's a little more on the fun side, but in like I said, in seriousness, it's really going to hopefully give us some really good guidance. So it's just me today. Rook is actually still asleep, but we have no internet. So to be very mindful about how we're recording, and I have to go out today to our local UU church, and while I'm there, I'll be able to hop on and upload this video, but can't do it from home right now. Cell service at my house is not all that great. Much worse since the hurricane. So that's kind of why it's a little weird today, but I wanted to get this in because transitional reads are important to me. And transitional meaning those reads that we do in our liminal spaces, like at the different Sabbats and limits and times of the year. And while this isn't an actual Sabbat, right, it's still a standard new year. So all of the emotions and feelings associated with New Year's happens right now. So that is kind of where we're headed from. So let's go ahead and pull a couple cards and see what we get. I want to pull three first, and then we're going to read them and see if we need any additionals. Today, being the time it is, I am reading reversals. I don't usually, but I have in the past, and I feel like reading them today. So that's how things change. So our first card is the Nine of Swords. So focusing on the Nine of Swords here for a minute. There's a little bit in the Nine of Swords of difficulty. And so we're representing things that have led up to now. So while the card itself says despair, it's not despair in like the most worst, lowest despair you've ever felt. It's not knowing what's coming and being very confused and upset and fearful about it. And this is kind of talking about how it's been leading up to this point. There's been lots of Nine of Swords energy, like we're almost at the end, but we haven't quite made it. And for some reason, we haven't made it. If you think about it, the Ten of Swords is generally a card in the tarot that represents complete failure or missing of the point, and everything has fallen apart. So the card leading up to that, right, in the cycle is not going to be one of happiness. It's confusion, it's loss, it's what's happening, why are things not together, and that might be how we've been feeling for a while. I know I have. So it makes sense that that card is coming up in this first position. So we're looking at this energy that's right now, that's in and around us, or maybe not right now, but more so leading up to right now. It's been a little difficult. It's been very confused and disorganized. And that leads us to the Eight of Swords. So the Eight of Swords in this particular case is a representation. Now, shuffled, have used this deck before, but this is coming right after the Nine of Swords. So we're going backwards, and it's reversed. So think about that in a cycle sense, right? We're going backwards in the swords, going from the despair card to the, what this causes restriction. But so let's say we're going back in this cycle of what's leading to failure. That is a good thing. That means in the current energies, we're starting to peel back that despair or that loss feeling that we have. And we're looking at what is pulling us or restricting us. And the fact that it's inverted to me in this particular case is even better, because that means we are looking at what is holding us back and we are starting to peel those restrictions off and opening ourselves up. So we're trending in our reading right now. We're going from a kind of a backward cycle. Whenever I read cards that are right next to each other in the actual tarot after shuffling, I see that as a clear trend. And so we go from 9 of Swords to 8 of Swords. Or for example, if we went from 8 to 9 in this read, I would be talking a little bit more difficult. Like, things are going to get worse. It's getting worse and we're going to have to go through this, but it's not. It's starting at 9, going to 8, same suit. And so it's like it's getting better. And reversing that second card is the removal of those restrictions. So we are starting to see and pull out those things that don't serve us. We've been talking about this all year. This is saying we're actually doing it. So there's a little bit of an impetus here for change, and you're actually pushing towards that change, which is freaking awesome. So that's where we are right now, right? We are having feelings of despair leading up to now. We're starting to awaken up and look around with our eyes, and we're like, okay, this is stupid. This shit is stupid. Pull it out. Start pulling those restrictions out and moving on to other things. And then our third card right now is the Three of Pentacles. And so this one says the team. Very cool interpretation. The Three of Pentacles for me is often the group, as it, like, I mean, it says team, but it's not. It's not. Team just makes me feel like work. I don't know. Maybe that's just me because we use teams. I don't know. But I see this more of a not teams thing. This is more of a home life. This is more of a close circle, right? So when I look at threes, I'm always thinking about groups, because that's kind of how I think individuals are the ones, and then the twos are like we're starting to group up in dualities and polarities, and threes is like, okay, now we've got some people coming in here, and this is a very, very, very positive portent for me going into what is going to be the next year soon. And this Three of Pentacles is saying you need to do this with people. So when you're removing restrictions and you're pulling these things out that we're just now talking about to open your eyes, to get to the things that you want, you're going to need people. You're going to need to have people with you. You're going to need to have some people that are with you. You're going to have to show some trust in people. And the Three of Pentacles talks about that stability of the environment of people around you. It may not be the people that are with you right now. It may not be people that you hold dear and close, but they are people that you're going to need to trust, because they also are rooted in Pentacle energy. So what I am kind of feeling out of this whole read is a sweeping small alteration of how we think and how we're managing things and processing information for next year. We talked a lot about this year having community. And we also talked a lot this year in tarot about how Mother Earth and us and everything around us has the potential and the ability to reset itself so that new things can grow. The hurricane, the losses of jobs, the changing of family, the divorcing of people, all of those destructions build out upon and bring in fresh new leaves, fresh new trees, new grass. It grows. And that's what we want out of the cycle of life, is that continual growth. We're not ever going to be completely out of depression and despair and thoughts that are not fun sometimes, but we have to always stay on the cycle of those things. And if we stay on the cycle of those things, then we know that this badness or sadness is not going to last, because there's going to be a cycle. It's going to continue to change. And that's what this reading is telling you. All of us, we have had despair this year. We've had a rough time. We are going right now into the time of pulling the restrictions away, pulling apart the things that are blocking our vision. And we are starting to be like, I can't see to the other side, but I can look around it. I'm going to climb up the wall to see what's on the other side. I'm not just going to sit here and say, I can't see. You're going to do something about it. You're going to start moving those boundaries out of the way and going through and starting to feel the things that you want to do and things that make you happy and joyous. And then the Three of Pentacles is saying you're going to need the community that you have been building to kind of stand by you as you continue on building into that strength, that grounding, that fabulous feeling of having support beams around you, even if you don't necessarily know it. I do feel like pulling one clarifying card here. So remember, when I pull a clarifying card, it augments two things. Number one, it augments each card. And number two, it augments the reading as a summary or a whole. So we pulled the Hermit in reverse. So this is pretty cool. So let's talk about it first, and then I want to kind of explain. So this, and what feels really cool about this is the card when it is up or right side up. It talks about going internally and really soul searching and, you know, researching into something and remaking something yourself, but away and in the cave, or, you know, in a private area of your life or a private meeting. You need to figure it out for yourself. When the Hermit is reversed, it's right in front of you. This means that all of the cards in the reading are much more in front of us. They're not hidden. They're not behind. There isn't any more soul searching that we need to do necessarily. We've done it. So let's talk about what that means for each card. For the Nine of Swords, this despair that I've been talking about, that we've been running up through in today's reading, the Hermit says, this isn't a retreat time. We couldn't retreat, you know. This was the year that COVID is kind of loosening up and people are out and about, really, at least down here, 100% out and about. The Hermit didn't, well, the Hermit already went in. The Hermit is now out. He's reversed. He's like, I'm coming out of the cave now with my knowledge. So that is where we are at. And then with our Eight of Swords reversed, and we're removing those restrictions, we're really tossing them right out. The Hermit is coming out of the cave. I've got it figured out. I'm moving the wall, move the wall, open the door, open the window, walk through, look around. Things are happening and you are managing that. And then our Three of Pentacles, this reversed or inverted Hermit is like, okay, I'm coming out of the closet. Okay, that was not what I meant. Coming out of the cave, that's still kind of weird. I am releasing my research now. I am putting my research back out to the group, and we're peer reviewing together. Maybe that's something that we can say. But this Hermit is now out and about, and we're moving and making things happen in 2023. Now, I know it's often important to have a positive outlook to me when you go into a new year. This isn't saying 2023 is going to be the best year we've ever had, or, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. Oh, 2023, it's always the next year, always the next year. This is saying that we are in an energy time and in a moment where we can actually move the barriers that we've been talking about. We can actually engage the community that we've been talking about. The Three of Pentacles, crystal clear there. Engagement, Hermit reversed, crystal clear, engage outward. So that is what we need to do. The moral of today would be engage outward after all of this we've had, and begin to trust again and allow people to be into your system. So that is the read for this week, this end of the year. I hope you got something out of it. If you have any different feelings or thoughts on what the cards mean, please feel free to drop your comments or whatever you feel about them. If you like this video, let me know. The more likes it gets, I keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing it anyway because I like it. But subscribe and, you know, share it out, the channel, so that it can hopefully reach more people and the message can get around. And I love you all. Please have a wonderful weekend and an amazing new year. There's a lot of things we can't control, but there's a lot of things we can. And remember, no matter how much we do or go down, life is a circle. It will cycle back up if you let it.